Hello, welcome to Twisted Tarot. My name is Shelby, and I'm about to do a reading for Libra. Um, I'm going to be looking at the general energies for the entire year and breaking it down into the 4 seasons first with the Unveiled Tarot, and then we'll be looking at each month with the Sci-fi Tarot. Now, whether you have Libra in your sun placement or anywhere else, you might be able to find a message in this reading. Now, I open up my sessions by hitting a singing bowl, and then I'm going to be quiet for a few seconds while I shuffle. If you want to go ahead and send me some of your psychic energy, time and space does not affect our connection here, so whatever you can send me might be helpful in this reading. Okay, normally I will choose that card from a different spot in the deck, but that jumped right out, so I'm just going to let that one be your overall energy for the year. Okay, so for a recurring or overall energy of the year, we have the Two of Pentacles, which refers to balance, making choices, and usually it has to do with your material reality, so the stuff that you own or job, your resources, this sort of thing. The top of the deck, this is going to be a twist or a surprise or what you don't see coming. We will look at this one later. So, for the rest of winter, or January, February, March, we're looking at the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords is a no bullshit type of person. She's able to make decisions without having all the information because she does have a lot of experience. So we're looking at energy of being able to make good decisions and possibly leadership. So we'll see what 3 cards come out for winter to see how that connects to the Queen of Swords. In the spring, we're looking at the moon. So April, May, June, there might be more of a sense of mystery. There might be some stuff going on in your life where, I'm just going to use the daytime, nighttime metaphor. You are very familiar with a road and all of the businesses and the homes during the day. But at night, if the streetlights go out and you're not able to see everything that you know are supposed to be there, you start to question what you know is there. So that's kind of the energy that I associate with the moon is you should know what's there, but you don't because of whichever factor. So we'll take a look at how that connects to the 3 months in spring. In the summer, we have another queen. The Queen of Wands is very passionate. She's creative. She leads because she gets people excited. In this card, you can actually see she's a film director. And I think that's perfect to kind of illustrate the energy that the Queen of Wands gives. And because we have 2 queens showing up as your main themes, there might have something to do with feminine energy or women in your life. Or if you're a woman, this means that you're basically standing in your own power. At the end of the year in the fall, we have the Four of Swords. This card essentially means healing, taking a rest. The Three of Swords is a really bad card. It has to do with heartbreak. And this is the card that comes afterwards, when, the shit is done and you can finally take a rest. So that's what we're looking at in the fall. So now I'm going to pull 1 card for each month of the year. So this reading is not going into too much depth, guys, but whenever I do your monthly readings, I'm going to refer back to these cards that I pull for the months. And we'll see if, we're dealing with the same energy or if there's been a change. I'm just very curious. Okay, 3 cards. Queen of Swords. Why is the Queen of Swords here for Libra? Okay, the Moon. Why do we have the Moon in the spring for Libra? Queen of Wands for summer. Why do we have Queen of Wands for 3 months in the summer? Okay, and the fall. Why do we have the Four of Swords for the last 3 months of the year for Libra? Oops, careful. All right, all the cards are on the table. Let's take a look at winter. So January, February, March. So this is happening right now. 9 of Cups. This is a card of wish fulfillment. Wish fulfillment, abundance. If you take a look at this woman, she's taking a bath in either gold or honey. She's living the good life, and that is the general feeling of this month. The next 2 months, though, major changes. The devil does tend to be associated with attachments, addictions, or like the darker side of their nature. But it also reminds us that because we are physical, we need to balance, our physical with our spiritual. So there might be something happening in February that's going to make you potentially question your morals, question, what you're giving too much energy to, this sort of thing. And then in March, there's going to be a major change. The death card, I do not associate it as a negative thing. The only way we can have new good things happen in our life is if we make space for them. So that's what I'm seeing, in these 3 cards here. To bring it back to the Queen of Swords, her energy is no bullshit, being able to make decisions confidently. So whatever this, grappling that you have with spirituality, I think you're going to come back to, who you are at your core, which is a very just person, and you'll be able to make decisions about this big change. In the spring, mystery associated with the moon, we have 2 pentacle cards. Which one's this one? Okay. So this card means that it's the 10 of Pentacles. You have so much that you have enough to share. You might not be acknowledging all of the good things that you have in your life. But yeah, that's essentially it. This has to do with material or your surroundings, your environment. And it's just reminding you to pay attention to the good stuff that you have, like the physical stuff. You are wealthier than you know. And then the King of Pentacles, this kind of has a similar energy to the Ten of Pentacles, where it's material success, leadership, practicality, generosity, this sort of thing. The Queen of Swords is back. So we have that no bullshit energy once again. So it looks like in the spring you're transitioning into more decisions about money, potentially. Summer, Queen of Wands. Okay, the 8 of Wands. This means quick changes, incoming messages. It's very fast energy. Usually this has to do with two-way communication. And it sits in the energy of creativity with the Queen of Wands as well. The Emperor in the middle middle of summer. This is a very powerful card. This is associated with leadership, um, being a master of any one thing or many things, because emperors do tend to have empires, so they're not just masters of one thing. So keep that in mind. You might want to tap into your own inner emperor in the middle of the summer. And finally, Four of Wands at the end of the summer. This is like the homecoming card. You went on a grand adventure, and you come back to your community, and everyone is waiting for you. Everyone's happy to see you. We're going to have a party. We're going to have a celebration. This is a very good card, but it does indicate that this celebration, this really good time, is temporary. It's only the 4, and we still have to get to the 10 in the tarot, right? And how does that relate to the Queen of Wands? Well, if whatever you're doing in the summer has anything to do with creativity, be confident in your own ideas and be able to decipher all the different communications coming in to make, a little fulfillment or goal happen. All right, let's look at fall. This is interesting. So the 4 of Swords is healing. The 5 of Swords is basically picking up that extra sword and bringing it into battle. So you may have to defend yourself somehow. Swords has to do with intellect, thoughts, words. So whatever, you're doing to recoup, you might actually have to use some of that energy to defend yourself in the fall. And I'm not talking physically, it has to do with ideas. 6 of Wands, this refers to victory. Subtle victory again. Personal, creative victory. And the Hierophant. So the Hierophant refers to tradition, teaching or learning or rites of passage. Sometimes this will relate to marriage, this sort of thing. This card also refers to marriage. So let's just say if you're working on, developing a romantic relationship this year, in the summer and in the fall, you may see some significant developments. But this could also have something to do with, formally upping your skills or changing your status in life. At the end of the year, you may be thinking about going back to school. There may be some reason that you need to see a lawyer or something like this. But yeah, the Hierophant is very much a formal institution representative. So I can't tell you exactly how that refers back to the 4 of Swords, but again, I'm going to look at each one of these cards whenever I do your monthly readings, just to see how it connects. So let's take a look at your twist card, or what you don't see coming. We actually did see this card this month. You have the 9 of Cups. And you have the 9 of Cups again here as your twist, or what you don't see coming. Now, what I'm seeing, what's happening with this card, is this is actually confirming some of the energy that's coming up here. So what this card is telling you is, regardless of the big decisions or balancing that you need to make, you will be able to find moments of fulfillment and joy throughout the year. So that's a great message. Thank you for watching. If you did enjoy this reading, I hope you'll subscribe, like, and come see me again. Cheers.